It's the Ringside Wranglers Wrestling Report with your host, Jack Jaw.
Welcome, wrestling fans, to another episode of the Ringside Wrangler Wrestling Report. I'm your host, Jack Jaw. You can reach out to us at ringsidewranglers@gmail.com. You can like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook stuff, comment, let us know what you want to hear, let us know what you think about our show. This week, my sidekick is... Hey!
Oh, let's go Moxley, CM Punk! Let's go Moxley, CM Punk!
What's your name this week?
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. This week I'm a tired dude.
Tired Dude. This week we got Tired Dude on the show with us. We got a lot of information to cover. Let's get to it. Starting at the top of the week on Monday night, you got the Raw show that's leading into your Super Showdown. Build up to that. But guess what? You got the same build up week after week kicking off the show. Randy Orton out trying to explain himself, why he did what he did to the R-rated superstar. This week is confronted by a fellow Canadian to the R-rated superstar, Kevin Owen. Kevin Owen and him are talking back and forth. That sets up a match for later on. Any comments on that? Sleepy Dude?
It's setting it up. I mean, obviously Edge and Orton are going to have their WrestleMania match, and I'm sure his wife Beth Phoenix will elaborate more on that on Raw Monday night.
Wait, Orton and Beth Phoenix?
No, man, Edge and Beth Phoenix.
Oh, Edge and Beth Phoenix. My bad, I missed that. Either way, on to the next match. You've got Ricochet and Luke Gallows. No, you've got Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza. This is the thing that's been going on the last couple of weeks. Garza gets the win there. Don't know what to think of that match. It was kind of that's the first match of the night. I guess it's okay. Athletic dudes running around, high flying, kind of interesting. Oh well. On to the next match. You got Ricochet and Gallows. Like I said a second ago, this is a build-up of Ricochet's match against Brock Lesnar. Ricochet, they're going to be putting him over. You know, Luke Gallows is not that great anymore after getting squashed in a handicap match or whatever. Ricochet gets the win there. You know, they're making you think he's legit. And we find out, and we'll talk about it in a minute at Super Showdown, that he's not too legit. Either way, but Ricochet gets the win there. Next out, you've got the Beast. He's coming out there. He's so confident in himself. Paul Heyman's giving everybody his spoiler like he always does. Next slide, Punk. Punk. There he is right there. You've got Brock Lesnar out there holding his belt. He doesn't care about Ricochet that much.
No.
Spoiler alert. He just said, guess what? It's just on to the next guy. So he's already talking Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking forward to that. Next, you've got Aleister Black, Eric Rowan. This is a repeat from last week. It shocked me. Not sure if it shocked the tired man.
No.
But either way, Aleister Black is getting over. He takes out Eric Rowan again. You know, he's on his big push, but guess what? He calls out somebody, like he said a few weeks ago. He said he's not waiting anymore.
Right.
He calls out AJ Styles, so
Right.
that's your match next week.
Right.
Who knows? AJ Styles, that seems to be a good angle, but who's AJ Styles at WrestleMania? AJ Styles, oh, he's fighting Undertaker.
Correct.
We'll find out about that in a minute. I guess Aleister Black is just going to get his thing. If he takes out AJ, that would really be a push.
He probably will.
Whoa, that would be great. Either way, next up, you've got Drew McIntyre interview with Charlie Caruso. Chuck, she's got a pretty good interview style. I've seen her on ESPN on that morning cake show. So that is a pretty good spot for WWE to have her in this interview. You know, she's great at doing this. It looks like they should be doing more of that with her. Drew McIntyre just building up his angle that he's going to be fighting Brock at WrestleMania. So that was a good interview. Next up, R-Truth, Bobby Lashley. Not sure the value on this match. I guess it's just a pre-Saudi Arabia match. Lashley gets the win there. As you can look in his face, it looks like he's kind of done with the whole Lana thing. Mm-hmm. Kind of crazy. I don't know what's going to continue on with that. Lana is not a good singles.
No.
I mean, she's okay as a valet. It looks like she needs to go back to Russo, and maybe Russo will get his... maybe what they'll do is they'll turn Lashley face. Lana will go back to Rusev, and Rusev will be a heel like he needs to be.
That'd be nice.
That would be pretty good.
That'd be real nice.
Yep. Either way, next up, you've got the Elimination Chamber contract signing match. I always like these contract signing matches. Like if they have contract signing, don't they contract sign for everything? But they only just select the ones they want to show.
Right.
Either way, it's a setup to have a good good stare down or whatever. In the Elimination Chamber match with the women, you've got Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, Natalya, Osaka, and Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler's not out there yet at this point. They're signing the match, and then she comes out, stares down everybody. Here comes the man, Becky Lynch. She comes out, and guess what? It's a throwdown.
Right.
Just nothing but building up heat to this next March 8th Elimination Chamber match. I'm thinking there's no way Shayna Baszler loses that. That's the match that everybody wants to see at WrestleMania.
That's the thing about these contract signings you talk about. You're right. Every match has a contract signing, but it's only going to be on television if there's going to be more than a contract signing. There's going to be a throwdown, beatdown, whatever. Anytime there's a contract signing, you have a 90% chance out of 100 it's going to get violent.
Violent it is.
Book it.
Next up, you've got another split up of another match that's been going on for several weeks. You've got Seth Rollins and his partner Murphy being split up this week to fight the Street Profits in singles matches. Guess what? They split it. Dawkins defeats Murphy, as expected. Rollins defeats Ford. I mean, where do you go next with that? I mean, I don't know what the point of that match was, but who knows? It's crazy.
I think Booker T made a good point on the Tuesday night show on Fox Sports 1 when he said that it's good sometimes to have these guys split up individually in matches like Edge and Christian did, and even Christian agreed with this. When you let them split up between each two, they can show their individual strengths and weaknesses to the crowd and prove that they are variable singles wrestlers as well as just tag team. Because sometimes when you're known as a tag team wrestler, like Robert Gibson, Ricky Morton, that's why you do tag. But when you have people like Edge and Christian, for example, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, those guys have proven they can be champions individually or as a team. So that's probably what they were trying to do, is push them over to where they can become valuable as individual commodities as opposed to just I'm a tag team.
That's right. Either way, those two guys have gone a long way. They came up from NXT a couple months back. So.
Yes, they have.
Either way, good event there. Next, you've got your main event mentioned at the beginning of the show, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. You know, this is working at a pretty good angle because you've also got Kevin Owens in his feud with Seth Rollins and Murphy and AOP. And of course, they come out, cause some stuff. Kevin Owens gets cheated out of the win by a referee that we're going to just call a disciple of, would you call him a disciple of
Yes.
Seth Rollins?
Yes.
Either way, once Kevin Owens figures that out, he starts chanting at the crowd, telling the crowd he's going to do stuff bad to the rest. Guess what? He does it bad. He power bombs them. Then he puts him through a table. The crowd goes on as they go to black.
Yeah, I would call him Earl and Dave Hebner. The Montreal Screwjob revisited once again.
And Winnipeg, of all places.
Yeah,
Either way.
exactly. A Canadian. It is what it is. Winnipeg, huh?
Yeah.
That's the home of Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
That's the home of Omega, Kenny.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Yep. I don't know why they didn't bring back, just have Rated R Superstar make an appearance there because they were in Canada. But I guess they're
Got to
really
sell the
selling his
injury. You
Yeah.
have to.
Either way. So that was the end of Raw. Next on the week for WWE, we got an NXT show. They're definitely in the mode of, pushing on to WrestleMania. You've got, of all people, Charlotte Flair really pushing that show over. That's going to be your main event later on. Earlier in the night, you had Dominic Dijakovic versus Cameron Grimes. Grimes gets the win over him. I thought Dijakovic, I thought he was in for a push when he fought Keith Lee. But now he loses right after that match. So who knows where they're pushing that one. Next up, you got Imperium. He gives Finn Balor a message from the Walter. You've got Mia Yim versus Xia Li. Li gets the win there. You've got Tommaso Ciampa versus Austin Theory. Also from last week, Austin Theory got the wrath of Ciampa because he got screwed at the last pay-per-view. Guess what? He gets beat again, so Austin goes down. Any comments?
The Wrath of Ciampa. That sounds like a movie. Let's make that movie. The Wrath of Ciampa. Sounds like a Star Wars sequel. The Wrath of Ciampa. Maybe he and Jabba the Hutt were buddies.
Then you've got Killian Dane versus Bronson Reed. Dane gets the win there. Then you got a good tag team match. I think you got to give it to AEW. Their tag teams are pretty good. I mean, you've got several guys that could compete for it versus in Raw. It just seems like there's not that many. But either way, you've got a couple that can win the belts and a bunch of nobodies. But either way,
NXT.
NXT has got some good tag teams.
Right.
Grizzled young veterans get the win over Forgotten Sons. Then your main event, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair. Charlotte Flair is doing her help just like Finn Balor coming down from a higher league wrestling, whatever you want to call it, coming down and pushing that brand. She gets the win via the natural selection. Then afterward, the Queen wants to do further damage to Bianca Belair. She sets her up in the figure 8. Then Rhea Ripley comes out to help her. I mean, I always like when they help somebody that they fought the week before.
Right.
But either way.
Well, I think that was a situation where she was saying that I'm on the Raw brand and I'm a much better athlete than you are in this company because I was been here before. But if you watch Charlotte Flair on the Tuesday night Fox Sports 1 show, the one female that she absolutely praised and adored as being the future of females and coming up was Ms. Belair. So it was a double-edged sword, if you will, in there to give her a push and make her look good, which she deserves to be. And at the same time, the gimmick is, I'm a WWE Raw brand superstar and you're just NXT, so I'm going to kick your butt. And it also helps sell their whatever's going to happen at WrestleMania with Charlotte and the NXT champ.
Yep. There you go. Next one, Punk. There she is, Rhea Ripley out there, standing her ground, standing in NXT's ground, saying, hey, she's ready for all these 2 shows. Raw, NXT, that's your 2 shows prior to Super Showdown. On the Super Showdown results, this is a big show over there. It looks like the crowd was bigger last year.
It was.
Still a big venue. A lot of people were there. But either way, it was a pretty exciting show. You got the 2-Watt Trophy. This is just a plethora of different guys going at it to win this trophy. I think last year what did they call it last year when Braun Strowman won it last year? Either way, the man or the championship, whatever. 2-Watt Trophy. It goes back and forth. Crazy enough, R-Truth stayed around for a while. He eliminated some people.
For a second, I thought they were going to put him over.
It was pretty funny, all the dance moves that AJ Styles was doing.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny. AJ Styles thinks he has the win because he's got his goons in the back taking out who is going to be his next opponent.
Right.
And he's going, just give me the belt, just give me the title, give me the trophy, whatever.
Would have been Ray Jr.
Ray Jr. got laid out.
Never made it.
By the
Undertaker.
OC.
Right.
OC guys lay him out. And the next thing they show the OC guys laid out.
Right.
And they show the boots of the Undertaker walk
Correct.
by. The boots come out.
Yep.
The Undertaker comes out, takes out AJ Styles. All that does is gives the little 2-Watt Trophy to the Undertaker and then preps them for the match at WrestleMania.
And to tell you how much he really gave a darn about the trophy, he never took it, just kind of looked at it, sneered, and walked off. That trophy didn't mean a doggone thing to him. It was solely a setup for WrestleMania between AJ and The Undertaker.
That would be good. But either way, so Undertaker still only has 1 loss at WrestleMania, right?
I think that 2.
Oh, he lost again?
Roman Reigns.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So he's lost his last.
Roman Reigns and Brock.
Wow, that's crazy. Either way, next on the card of the Super Showdown show, you got Miz and Morrison, new champions. They take out the New Day.
Does not surprise me.
Yeah.
I'm glad they won. And I don't know if this means that the New Day is going to make that so-called heel turn they talked about, but it'd be a great way to start it, especially when Xavier Woods comes back.
Yeah, no doubt. Next up, you got Brock Lesnar. It's hard to believe the champion is fighting so early in the card here. He just completely destroys Ricochet.
Absolutely.
What is he? Suplex City like 5 times.
If again, you go back to the Tuesday show on FS1 with the WWE backstage. All the people that were interviewed, who do you think is going to win a match? And they all look at each other. Are you serious? You really going to ask me that question? That dude had about a snowball's chance in hell, probably less than a snowball's chance in hell of beating Brock Lesnar because he was all planned up. Brock was going there and just totally was going to destroy this dude to prepare his way to take on Mr. McIntyre, who I'm being told is going to win. You're going to have double champions at WrestleMania. You're going to have McIntyre going over Brock, and you're going to have Roman Reigns going over Cena.
Oh, for sure, that one. Yep. Either way, you gave a little spoiler alert right there. Either way, Roman Reigns in your next one, you've got your cage match. Hopefully, this is going to just end this feud. King Corbin. You kind of wonder what happens to somebody like King Corbin after they've been elevated to this point, been fighting the main man, the dog or whatever, and then now that whole thing is played out. Roman Reigns gets the win in the cage. That was kind of a pretty good match. Next up, you had the covered female wrestlers, Bayley and Naomi, completely covered up for the Saudi Arabian crowd. Bayley gets the win there.
So was Rusev's wife. She was covered up too. See, the Saudis don't like all that expose female TNA cleavage stuff. They don't like that. It's totally against their religion, and rightfully so, man. I mean, we're guests in their country. we follow their rules. And you know what? They actually came home on time this year. They didn't get hijacked in their plane because they ticked off the king.
Oh, wow.
Remember last time?
Yeah. They had to get back early. I mean, you're less than
they go to Boston.
Less than 24
It's a 24-hour flight,
yeah.
and they had to get back to Boston.
Crazy. But either way, we'll talk about that show in a minute. So Bayley gets the win over Naomi. In the main event, you got Goldberg taking on The Fiend right out the gate. There's a stare down, and then Goldberg immediately spears him, and then spears him again. I think The Fiend at one point tried to get his little, what do you call it, mandible claw in his mouth or whatever. That seemed to be a little bit of damage. As you can see him sitting in that next picture right there, Punk, right there side by side. You know, it looks like, you know, they're staring at each other. Can't believe they each survived each other's hold. Right. But either way, Goldberg gets a couple more spears and then kind of a half-hearted jackhammer. New champion, Goldberg, new Universal Champion. I thought overall it was a pretty exciting pay-per-view. Good action, good storyline. Not so sure about the Goldberg thing again. Been there, done that. We'll talk about that later in our weekly update.
Yeah, I have to correct myself. I'm half asleep myself. They had a 24-hour flight. Mine was more like about 5. But I think I inadvertently said that there'd be a double change at WrestleMania with McIntyre going over Brock. And I think I erroneously said that it would be Roman Reigns over Cena. I meant to say Roman Reigns over Goldberg. Like I said, I actually went to the AEW show in Chicago, caught the red eye this morning, and we'll talk about that later. But
all right, Sleeping Man.
Yeah.
The Sleeping Man's, all right?
It's fine.
The Sleeping Man. Either way, next up in the WWE family, you've got our good Smackdown show coming out of the Super Showdown. Universal Champ right off the bat comes out there, Goldberg. He says he doesn't want to hear about who's last. He wants to hear about who's next. What happens? Roman Reigns music hits. Those two guys stare each other down. And then there you have it. You've got a match for WrestleMania. Roman Reigns taking on Goldberg for the title. It just seems like that's a given. Goldberg doesn't want to stick around like this. I mean, I think he was exhausted when he had it last time, a couple years back. He's going to be exhausted now. No doubt Roman Reigns takes the belt back. In fact, if he doesn't take it back, I would think that's just a teaser to put Goldberg over, and then he loses it on Monday night after WrestleMania.
It all makes sense, though, because if Cena had to have a match at WrestleMania, he ends up going up against The Fiend. If The Fiend would have defeated Goldberg, it would have been Cena and The Fiend for the title, and God help it, if Cena gets that 17th win, these people are going to tear down the whole world because Ric Flair's 16-time championship reign cannot be defeated.
That's right.
They're not going to let it go. It's just not. Maybe after he passes away, they'll do it because he'll be dead and he won't know, but they will not do it while he's still living. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's crazy. Next up, Bayley out there, you know, talking about her win, and with a little bit less clothes on this time because she's back in Boston.
Right.
She's out there. The match was originally going to be Bayley against Naomi, a rematch from Super Showdown show, but she introduces Sasha Banks. So you've got Bayley and Banks out there talking to Naomi, and Naomi's not going to go silent. So Lacey Evans comes out there. So there you got a tag team match. Naomi and Lacey Evans get the win. Either way, it's a pretty exciting match for a female match.
It's good to see Bayley. I mean, Sasha Banks back. It's her hometown. She's a B-town girl.
Yeah, the crowd was over on that.
Yeah, it's good to see it.
Pretty good, exciting show. Next up, you got Kofi Kingston and Robert Roode. A little stare down in the back. That seems to be a pretty good angle. Not quite played out yet, but either way, you know, Big E comes out there ringside. But either way, Robert Roode gets the win after a distraction from the ref. Overall, pretty decent, exciting match. You know, like you said earlier, the New Day, it looks like they could be going for a heel turn because, you know, they play out these angles. And once the matches start getting boring, you can almost predict, okay, here comes a heel change.
It might be time for them to make that turn. They did very well when they were heels. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, when they first started, they were doing the heels. Right. And all three of them, especially when I'm really thinking in my mind, as fatigued as it may be, that when Xavier Woods comes back, and he was on the Tuesday night show recently as well, and he's in really good shape. I think he's just trying to get the kinks out and dot the I's and cross the T's and cross the X's for Xavier. And whenever he gets back, I mean, I think they'll go ahead and make that turn. I really do.
Yep. Either way, next up, you've got an Intercontinental Champ contract signing match.
What does that mean?
It means
contract signing match.
It's getting ready to be a
all
throwdown.
hell's gonna break loose.
Getting ready to be a throwdown. Either way, Braun Strowman, I thought it was kind of weird to see him in jeans.
He looked good.
Yeah.
And you know what? The first thing I thought of was he actually wore that belt around his big chiseled waist, and I was very proud of him. I mean, not that he really cares because I'm a nobody, but the thing is, it's nice to see a superstar, athlete, wrestler come to the ring with a belt around their waist, because that's why it's called a belt, right? You put a belt around your waist, not over your shoulder. You put a backpack on your shoulder. You don't put a belt around your shoulder. You put a belt around your waist. And he looked really good with the belt around his waist. How about that?
If Heavy Machinery ever wins any kind of belt, I don't see any of those guys wearing
Especially poor Otis.
That's right. Either way, so there's your contract signing match.
Guy.
You know, Braun Strowman is just being, you know, matter of fact. He's going, hey, look, I know I'm out here to sign a contract to fight Shinsuke, give him his rematch. And he goes, it doesn't, in his words, lets his words screw things up for him. He just goes, hey, I'm signing this contract against Shinsuke, but I know I'm going to be having to fight all you guys. And then, you know, they call him out for saying that. They go, oh, so you think the match is against all three of us? And he goes, yeah. And next thing you know, there's your match. It's a handicap match. So, you know, I'm not sure what to make of that.
Sami Zayn played him. Sami Zayn played him hard.
So either way, and then they all three of them lay into him.
Oh, Captain, it's a contract signing.
Yep.
What does that mean?
Well,
brawl.
Yeah, it means a brawl, but you know what else? It also means that since they got the better of Braun Strowman, typically what happens? The guy who gets the better of.
But sometimes Mr. McMahon plays that trump card. No, not President Trump, but the other trump card. Yeah. And basically he'll say, hey, you know, you think it's going to be this way, so you go right. You think I'm going to go left? Well, I'm going to make an illegal right turn again. Yep. It is what it is. And hey, real quick, joke about the belt stuff. I heard this really cool joke that said, pro wrestling is the only sport where people run around in underwear to fight for a belt.
That's a good one. Either way, so you're saying
I'm sorry. Let's do it right.
You're saying Shinsuke gets the belt back?
No, I just thought it was a cool joke.
Oh, okay. So Shinsuke doesn't win this week?
Don't know.
We'll see.
Don't know.
Either way, I like Braun Strowman. I hope he holds on to it. I want him to be the heavy. I want him to be the
like I said, he deserved to have a belt for a long, long time. Yes, I did say belt, not strap or championship. He deserved to have a belt for a long time, and he looked really good with that belt around his waist. He really did.
Yep.
Just whatever's worth.
Either way, so there's your match set up for next weekend's Elimination Chamber. Braun Strowman to be defending his belt against Shinsuke, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. It's kind of weird that you're going to fight against three guys, and if the three guys win, Shinsuke gets the belt. Either way.
But here's a spoiler. The new tag champions, man. What's up with that?
Who are the new tag champions?
With Miz and Morrison. Hey,
that's right.
Ho, ho.
That's right.
What's up with that?
We got that coming. Next up, we got Daniel Bryan and Curtis Axel. You know, Daniel Bryan is fighting some lesser talent. I guess they're pushing this Drew Gulak, commentating, where he's apparently coaching Axel, but his coaching is of no luck to Axel because Bryan gets the win there. I mean, what kind of match do you think Daniel Bryan will be in for WrestleMania?
Well, another spoiler alert. You have a very good topic to end the show with, and I'm going to reserve my commentary for that, because if certain matches or certain superstars were not appearing at WrestleMania this year, that would open up matches for Daniel Bryan and other folks to have.
Right.
And we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah,
and your push toward the end.
All right. So Daniel Bryan gets the win there over Curtis Axel. Next up, you have Miz and Morrison.
Hey, ho, ho.
There you go. Miz and Morrison are celebrating.
Hey, ho, ho.
That's right. They're celebrating their win at Super Showdown. They're the new champs. They're out there just talking smack how great they are. And guess what? It gets announced for the Elimination Chamber. There's going to be an Elimination Chamber match where Miz and Morrison have to defend against Usos, New Day, Ziggler and Rude, Heavy Machinery, and the Lucha House Party. They get pissed off. That's the way it's going to go down. And then they have to fight the Usos that night. Well, guess what? Usos get the win last night in a non-title match. Pretty exciting match. Looks like it's going to be a pretty good Elimination Chamber. I think Miz and Morrison easily keep the belts. They easily keep the belts there. Then, the main event, if you want to call it an event, you've got John Cena coming out, talking, his welcome back. He loves the WWE Universe and all this kind of stuff, and he puts himself over that he hasn't been around and he doesn't deserve to fight in WrestleMania, so the fans are going to have to just get over that there'll be no Cena in this WrestleMania. And he's like, not saying goodbye, but it's got this little heartfelt moment. He high-fives his family as he's leaving.
Because he's from West Newbury, Massachusetts, which is the suburb of Boston, Massachusetts. So he's another hometown B-town boy.
Yeah.
With Sasha Banks being a B-town girl.
And all night long, they're just pushing these little old cameo appearances from John Cena. Whatever. Either way.
So go ahead and say it. The long story short, I don't want to wrestle anymore because all I'm going to do is take away a spot for someone who's fought and clawed and fought and given everything they've had all year long to get the spot. So I'm not going to be I guess you can say it because he's going to say it on the AEW. I don't want to be a bastard and take it away from people. And then what's he go and do?
Yep. Going up the ramp, who's standing behind him? The Fiend. And the Fiend, I thought it would have been better if he would have attacked him, but the Fiend just looks at him and then points at the WrestleMania sign. So there you've got it. You've got the Fiend versus John Cena at WrestleMania.
So what happened to I don't want to take away from all these people that have fought and clawed and scratched and did everything in their power for 365 days to make a championship appearance at WrestleMania, and you go and take it anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Just lame.
Didn't you?
Double standard. Either way. Then that's the end of the show, and then we move on to our brand of choice right now, AEW. They had their Wednesday night Dynamite show, which, by the way, reporting on the Wednesday Night Wars, AEW Dynamite continues to beat NXT. This week, viewership was only down 3%, but NXT's viewership was down like 17%, something like that. So 865,000 viewers for Dynamite, only 717,000 viewers for NXT. AEW's latest victory saw the promotion win every demographic for the first time in the Wednesday Night Wars. So all ages are watching Dynamite over NXT. I kind of like that. I would prefer them just stay at this timeline, stay whipping them on the Wednesday night, and just continue to build on that.
Correct.
So this show on Wednesday Night Dynamite was set up just to confirm everything that's going to be going on the Revolution pay-per-view that happened last night, where Sleepy Man went.
That was a hell of a night.
Yes, it was. So, in this one, right off the bat, you had a 30-minute Iron Man match, Kenny Omega against the bastard Pac. Went back and forth, 30 minutes, one pinfall each. At the end, they said, guess what? We're going to sudden death, and Omega gets the quick extra pin there to win 2-1. That was overall a pretty exciting match. I think you had a lot of chance of this is awesome from the crowd.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting match. I'm not really sure what's going to come out of that one, but either way, Kenny Omega gets pushed over Pac. Next up, you had the Inner Circle versus Jurassic Express. I would have thought going into this, Inner Circle would, definitely dominate that. Jurassic Express just seems like a pretty good face team, but they're not going to get too many wins. But hey, I'm wrong.
Hey, they sat front row ringside last night. Didn't even pay for the ticket.
Well, Jurassic Express, they defeat the Inner Circle. Next up, you had the Butcher and the Blade and
the Bunny
versus Best Friends. Another one I thought Butcher and Blade would get the win there, but guess what? Best Friends get it. Cassidy, he comes out and he's talking his little lingo. He gets laid out by Pac, so that sets up a quick sign match for the Revolution show.
Right.
And then you got this dude right here. Go back one, Punk. Darby Allin. I actually like this dude.
He was made
He's like,
over last night.
like 5'8", 175 pounds,
That's
flying
right.
all over the place.
Yep.
He's got this move he does off the top rope where he does this reverse headbutt where he just falls back into the dude. I think it's epic. I think the guy's really good. Either way, I look for him to do big things. Hopefully it's going to be, continued going on. Next up, you've got a women's match, Big Swole versus Hikaru Shida and Shayna versus Yuka Sakazaki, whatever.
God bless you.
Either way, it's the next one right there. That's right, Sakazaki. Either way, go to the next one. There's your guy, Orange Cassidy. His best friends guys love him.
Yeah. Brad's a really cool dude.
Next one, there he is, all laying back. I think that guy's a great entertainer. We'll talk about that in a minute at Revolution. And then here, next one, right there, go Punk. You got it right there. You've got the women match. Big Swole, Hikaru Shida, Shayna, Yuka, Sakazaki, whatever.
Right.
Shida gets the win over Swole, Shayna, and Sakazaki. Again, there we go. Look at that. Some pretty good action right there. Again, they need some help. AEW's women is probably the only weak point we can find in what they're offering.
I don't know about that. I mean,
Shida, either way.
The lady from outer space last night looked pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. On to the main event for the AEW Dynamite show. The main event, really not an event, it's a weigh-in. of course, like
it was an event.
Just like a contract signing. You're only doing this just to have a little run-in.
It was definitely an event.
Yep. So
cost Jericho by 7 stitches to his skull.
So they're weighing in. Challenger weighed in at 234 pounds. Jericho, he's definitely put on some pounds since his early days. But either way, headbutt from John Moxley, Chris Jericho. He's laid out. Look at the blood flow right there. And I'm thinking immediately going, hey, this is going to be hard for him to wrestle like that.
But it really wasn't. Last night it ended up being Mox who had some issues.
So your cut man there did a really good job with Jericho because I don't think that thing bled one time during the Revolution
even
match.
when he was bitten.
Which on to the Revolution match. This was last night. Sleepy Man was there.
Yeah, for the record, Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York City are the 3 most notorious bloodthirsty wrestling towns in the United States of America. If you can do well in Chicago, Illinois, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and or New York City, New York, you will do well. Another thing I'd like to mention, the fans in Chicago are Black Hawk Chicago NHL hockey teams. They don't really care too much about the Cubs or the Bears or the White Sox or the Bulls. It's all about the Blackhawks. Let's go Blackhawks. Let's go Blackhawks. So I had to get on that ride, especially this is CM Punk's favorite team. So yeah, I was very glad to represent the Blackhawks last night, even though it was a hell of a brutal transportation logistics to, during, and from.
Either way, it's worth every second of it.
It was great.
Yep.
I'd do it all over again.
In the first match in Revolution, you had Dustin Rhodes versus what are they calling Jack Hager? I think
Jake Hager.
But they're calling him what? Jericho's bitch?
That's what the shirt said.
Shirt said. So Dustin Rhodes comes out wearing the shirt saying, I'm here to fight Jericho's bitch.
Right.
Jake Hager. That was a pretty good match. I mean, Jake Hager gets involved with some lady at the ringside.
I'm assuming that was his wife. But
the funny thing is, he gets in a little activity, and then later on in the match, Dustin Rhodes gets a little activity from this lady. She says, that's disgusting. But either way.
But Jake Hager's in tremendous shape. I'm ashamed to admit I didn't realize he was MMA, undefeated there. But he's in very good shape to consider his MMA, just like Brock Lesnar and the other folks that have come, Ronda Rousey, et cetera. Shayna Blazer, he's still got really good ring shape, and he looked good. I mean, I was scared he's going to be rusty and all. Not the case. He looked really good last night.
Yep, well, he gets the win over Dustin Rhodes. Next up, you have Darby Allin, seems to be my favorite person right now in AEW. He gets the win over Sammy Guevara. This was a very exciting match, back and forth, high flying.
This is why AEW is pro wrestling and not sports entertainment, whatever the heck you want to call it. The dude with skateboard comes in the ring, right? As soon as he comes in the ring, he immediately dives out and hits this dude straight dive before the match even started. Had tables going down, burst up and stuff like that. That's wrestling. That's Mid-South. That's
that happened
UWF.
right in front of you because
Exactly.
I saw you on
yes,
that.
you
That was
did.
crazy.
And that was UWF Mid-South style. You love it.
Yep. In fact, that match went on for about 15 minutes.
It did.
The match hadn't even started because it never got started in the ring, and they finally rang the bell.
That's right.
It went back and forth. I was kind of surprised that Darby Allin wins, but it was pretty exciting. I was happy he won.
Yeah. I mean, the dude's like 175, about 5, like you said, 5'8", 5. I mean, he's in really good shape.
Yep.
Really good shape, and he's got and I know I had heard JR and Shivani were putting him over so much, and rightfully so. I mean, this young guy's got a lot of potential and talent with this company. I had said it before, and I'll say it again. The bottom line is, with Cody doing it, and Moxley and Jericho and all those guys in that organization, with the big man with the money and the talent they've got, and the announced team, they've got all the ingredients they need to make the perfect gumbo, if you will. Yep. And I'm going to say it every week till I'm proven wrong. I like their chances a lot. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. I'm just telling you how it is. It's supply and demand. And then right now they got the supply and the people want the demand. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it was exciting. Either way, I like that Darby Allin is getting the push. You know what they do need in AEW? They need a mid-championship. They need an Intercontinental belt, a U.S. belt.
Or like a light heavyweight or something
North
like
American belt or something like that for somebody like Allin to get.
They'll probably have it.
Either way, next up was it looked to me like an Iron Man match. I mean, it went on forever, but it really was only 30 minutes.
God.
You had the AEW Tag Championship match, Kenny Omega versus Adam Hangman Page versus the Young Bucks. Going in, you're thinking Adam Hangman, because if he's been drinking, is he going to become a heel or whatever? Was he going to cost them the championship belts? But this match went back and forth, one fall. In the business, we say no selling on times 10. Any move that would have ended any other match did not end this match. It just went on and on and on. High flying. It almost got to the point the fans were just going. They went from "this is awesome" to after everything.
Right.
It was just crazy. It just kept going on and on and on. They actually at one point called 30-minute match.
Referee gave it 30-minute time limit. He said 30 minutes going, 30 minutes left, and 30 seconds later, Hangman gets the pinfall. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know what was more brutal. 30 minutes of watching a no-sell after no-sell after no-sell, or that 30-minute red eye I had to take from Chicago to New Orleans and then drive to Baton Rouge this morning. I don't know which one was more brutal. The bottom line is, though, it was a great match, just way, way too long.
What kind of jet were you flying in? 30 minutes to Chicago?
No, 30 minutes from Baton Rouge to 30 minutes from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, driving way above the limit.
Way too fast.
And 5 hours from
crazy.
Chicago.
But that's what I felt
New
like
Orleans.
at the end of that match. It was just, it was a great match.
Very entertaining.
Little too long.
Very athletic. Just way too long.
Yep.
And I felt bad for the ladies that had to follow that match.
Oh yes, the ladies match, the
or
championship
the
match.
lady and the tramp.
Yeah, Nyla Rose, whatever you want to say about her versus Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander, what is she from? She's from another galaxy.
Right, and that's the reason why she had trouble. She had difficulty breathing last night because the Earth's oxygen level, which is, 21%, 89% nitrogen, 79% nitrogen, 21% oxygen. Yeah, she had trouble getting that oxygen.
Yep.
That was her problem.
Either way, I guess they were not going to give her the belt. There were some pretty good jumps off the top rope, slips off the top rope. I mean, Nyla Rose is pretty large. I mean, I can't imagine her being.
If they say she's 175, then I weigh about 5,000 pounds because she reminded me a lot of Nia Jax. I just kept seeing Nia Jax in my brain last night watching this thing. This
a couple
tough
times
thing.
Chris Statlander was trying to do a move off the top rope, and I'm just going, as she's climbing up there, I'm going, there's no way.
One of them, she just missed a step and came straight down. I felt bad for her. Just completely missed a step. She wasn't properly tied off with fall protection. I should have rolled her up. I am a CSP,
So Nyla Rose gets the win there. Of course, it does. So Nyla Rose is still your champ. Next up, you've had a match that's been brewing for 5-6 months. Cody versus MJF. MJF doing all the stipulations on Cody. Cody doing every single one, so he finally gets this match. He's got, who does Cody bring out with him? He's got his whole family out there with him.
He's got Double A and his wife and his brother and apparently some people on his demon team or whatever.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And Cody's got a new tattoo, and we're all thinking, I hope that's not a real
probably
tattoo.
Was temporary.
I mean, it was like this big American flag on his neck. Either way, if it wasn't a tattoo, it stayed pretty good because it stayed all night.
Yeah.
This match went back and forth. There was blood was spewed in this one.
If you call it.
If you call it blood, either way.
But hey, I thought about it this morning on that horrific transportation back. Cody did say that he was going to leave a scar for him.
There you go.
So maybe that was the whole purpose of that so-called bleed, was to leave a scar. That wasn't blood. I'm sorry. If it were, I apologize. But to me, that wasn't. Now, as for Mox, totally different story.
Yeah. Either way. So there you go. It's crazy. I thought for sure Cody would have got this after doing all what he had to do to get this match. But
I remember texting you on that flight, and we were saying, look, one thing I respect about Cody Rhodes is, as the booker for that organization, unlike Nash and all these other dudes in WCW that just always had to put themselves over and win and win and win, he's losing all the time.
Yep.
He's having all these other people win, and that shows me that he's committed to the final product, not the here, but what's going to be, or the now, but what's going to be the future. And that's another reason why I feel, with that kind of mindset and the talent they have and the money and the resources and the drive and the announcers and everything, I really believe in my heart of hearts that they're going to make it happen. They are making it happen, but it's going to become elevated.
Yep.
Big time.
MJF is huge now. I mean, with this win,
he looks good.
Next up, you had the Bastard Pac versus Orange Cassidy, a match made on Wednesday Night Dynamite.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say his name because I don't work for them, but Mr. Neville, if you will, because I don't want to curse with these children listening to our cast, which we appreciate. But Mr. Neville is in phenomenal shape. He was never like this in WWE. Same thing with Moxley. Both those guys are tremendous shape, and they did. Now, as I was texting you, they did things that I saw last night, and hopefully you were able to see as well, that they were never allowed to do in the WWE. Certain spots they did, certain persona, and a certain flow they had in the match. You never saw that before. And he was like, who am I seeing in here? Because it sure isn't Neville and it sure isn't Dean Ambrose, because it wasn't.
Yep.
It was the B-Man and John Moxley.
Yep. There you have it. I actually like the little character that Orange Cassidy is. He comes off like he's, he's one of these smaller guys, but he's actually pretty big.
Oh, he's pretty good. He's pretty good size.
You think he's just going to get squashed, but he's got this move where he puts his hands down like this, and then he flies all over the place with his hands in his pocket. It was a pretty exciting match. A couple times I actually thought Cassie was going to get the win when he did these moves off the top rope. But ultimately it came down to a little bit outside distractions from his best friends guys, doing some stuff outside. Pac gets the choke out. There it is right there, but he just leaves him for dead right there.
Yeah, but one thing, I really like Brad a lot because it's kind of like the Joel Gertner gimmick where you got the fans really into you. I mean, everybody were doing all this, freshly squeezed and pulp, no pulp, and all the chants. It was great, and the guy's really over. So I'm happy for him.
It was good, exciting. Next up, you got your main event, the heavyweight championship AEW match. Chris Jericho, John Moxley. I thought it was very cool. John Moxley just walks in from outside.
Right.
Just walks into the arena, walks by people standing in the arena at concession stands, walks through the crowd, walks straight by all these people ringside, gets into the ring, and he has to sit there while Chris Jericho does his little entrance with his little band.
Yeah, he had an orchestra actually doing his thing. Cody had a rock and roll band, metal band, whatever. They were all right, I guess. Yeah. But Jericho actually had this orchestra from Chicago, female, very talented,
choir,
very talented group, and they sang his song. I mean, acapella did a phenomenal job, and it went right into his Fozzie's version of it. But the thing about Moxley, I don't know if anybody else caught this, but I also texted you this when I was coming back. I saw on the big screen in there that whenever he was coming from outside in the streets of Chicago through the arena, whenever he came in, the camera caught the side of his eye with the patch, and I didn't see the tan bandage that he normally would have over it. You could see his eyeball, so I knew something was going to happen with that patch.
Yep. But right there, you see right there what was going on. You knew the Inner Circle was going to get involved in this match. They're out there. Jack, I started to say Swagger, Hager, he's out there, and he punches actually at one point Moxley, but the ref sees it, and there you just have it right there. She throws the entire Inner Circle out, and then once that was done, it was almost like Moxley was, all he had to do was concentrate on his one opponent. Moxley ends up getting the win.
Right.
New AEW champion.
Yep.
He's bloodied up, and you can definitely see, I'm not sure when that gash happened.
He was outside, and Jericho threw him into, because see, their ring posts are not round like WWE. They're like almost like a square kind of thing, so they have that sharp edge. So whenever he hit it, you could see it was like a brush burn scrape that you could see, but he immediately turned from like that bronze scrape, brush burn to blood red. And I mean, he was coming down, and I knew, unlike the other one with MJF, this was like legitimate blood because it was like a crimson mask that JR always talks about. It was that legitimate dark red coming down. And when the match was over, you could see a noticeable gash above. It was above the eyebrow where this patch was. That eventually took the patch off, and so his eye wasn't hurting anymore. But we agreed that it was going to take a few staples or whatever to close it up.
But overall, I thought the pay-per-view was great. It was very exciting beginning to end. A couple of low spots with the length of matches sometimes, but either way, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I thought the only way it could have gotten better would have been maybe the tag championship match be a little bit shorter.
That was my biggest complaint, was the tag match being too long. I gave it an 8 because of the fact that it was the first one I'd ever seen before, period. The fact that it was live, that Chicago crowd, like I said, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, those are the 3 most notorious places to watch a wrestling event, live or on TV, especially live. And they accomplished their goal. They did what they were supposed to do, and I really would hope that they would come down in this area. I know they're going to be in Houston soon.
Yep.
They're going to Utah for the first time. I think they're going to other places as well.
Denver.
Yeah, but Colorado, thank you.
Yep.
But I'd love to see them come. I know they're going to be in Houston, but I'd love to see them come maybe New Orleans, Lafayette, something like that. That'd be great.
Get more South dates.
Yeah, they probably will.
Either way, one of our buddies were texting back and forth. I'm texting back and forth during the match. What would you think of this? What would you think? He was just poo-pooing the whole show. I mean, he went from a 5 out of 10 to a 3 out of 10, and then after the Jericho match, he's 1 out of 10. I don't know what was going on then. Jeremy, that's his name, Jeremy. He did not speak in class today, but either way, I don't know what he was smoking, but either way, I thought the show was actually better than he was giving it. Either way, I enjoyed it.
Biggest surprise for me last night, no CM Punk chance. shocked the living, you know what, out of
Yeah.
me. Because I swore it was going to be nothing but CM Punk, not one.
Yeah,
and I was just very shocked. I don't know if they were told not to do it or if they just conveniently forgot. Don't know.
Well,
but
you
I
weren't
was,
told to do it. You were there.
right.
So either way.
But
so,
I mean, the bottom line is it was just,
you know, I thought they would help that pay-per-view get a higher mark for me would have been some kind of show up from some new wrestler. I'm guessing.
or a heel turn.
Since
I
today's
really
March
thought,
1st.
yes.
Yeah. Today's March 1st, maybe some contracts are up and some people could do some stuff. You know, I'm still thinking Luke Harper is going to show up at some point, and maybe he's the voice of the
I thought Paige
Order.
was going to make that turn, too. I thought Hangman Page was going to make that turn.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I really did. I kept sitting on the edge of my seat, especially the longer that match went, the more I thought he was going to get just ticked off and just make it happen.
Yep. Either way, who let the dogs out? We got
See,
Roman Reigns in the house.
Yeah,
we got Roman Reigns in the house.
Even he thinks it was the same
Yep.
thing.
He
Yeah, I
loved
agree with
it.
you, brother. I agree
He
with you.
loved
He
it.
should have made that turn.
So
Totally
what
agree.
we like to do at the Ringside Wrangler Wrestling Report is we like to cover the independents. We love independents. This week, like
I
always,
agree with you.
we're covering Wrestling 225. They've got a big show today, March Madness, out in Dennis Springs, Louisiana. Big highlighted match there. You've got Mad Dog Gil Gracie versus the Super Gold 4 winner, a number one contender, Corey Constantine. That looks to be a very exciting match.
I still say Gil takes it. I hadn't seen him wrestle in years, and I still think he's going to take it because he's got that. Gil Gracie's got that name like an Austin or HBK or Triple H. I mean, just the name alone commands respect.
Yeah, maybe so, but I'd rather Corey Constantine. I like the gimmick he's got. I like the face paint.
Oh, both these guys are tremendous athletes. I'm just saying, I knew him as Gil the Thrill Gracie back in the day, and he was definitely a thrill to watch.
Yep. Either way, hopefully Constantine wins, but if he doesn't, I'm sure it's going to be a good show either way.
Well,
then they've got 225 got another event coming up on the day before WrestleMania. It's called 225 Mania. That's going to be in Livingston. That looks to be an exciting event, and as we get more information on who's going to be wrestling at that event, we'll report it out on the Ringside Wrangler Wrestling Report. This week's special report, given that Goldberg is the new champ, we've got a tidbit of information. Why is that good for business, and why is it not so good for business? You know, Goldberg, I've always been a fan of Goldberg. I loved when he was in WCW, and he had that long run of 200-plus wins. Nobody would beat him, and I love the jackhammer move that he had when he finally won the belt against Hogan. That huge show in Atlanta.
Yep, 40,000, Georgia Dome.
From that time forward, I've always loved Goldberg.
Yep.
So, but I'm kind of torn whether he wins the belt, if he's still relevant. But obviously he's relevant now because he is the Universal Champion. So let's go over some 5 good things and 5 not so good things about Goldberg being the champ. This is from the Sportster, some of these ideas. So one thing that's good for business is it's unpredictable. You know, you didn't know that Goldberg was going to win the belt. You thought he was just going to be a main player. He would lose in some kind of way, like he lost last year to The Undertaker.
Right.
He got injured in that match.
Right.
So it was kind of unpredictable. So fans liked the unpredictability of that. One thing that's not so good that Goldberg wins is his matches are kind of poor. He's got a couple of the same moves. He goes back and forth. He does the spear.
He's 50-plus years old, too. They had the big thing on the internet about AEW has their 50-year-old champion. WWE has their 50-year-old champion. AEW's at Jericho, 50-plus. You know, Goldberg, WWE, 50. But Jericho always, and we talked about this when we text, too. Jericho's always been a wrestler.
Yep.
He's been a wrestler since the Japan days in Mexico and all that stuff. WCW, ECW, WWE. I mean, he's
he never
more.
stops.
And then he does all this other stuff. And now he's one of the major faces of AEW. So, you know, if you're going to ask me Jericho or Goldberg, man, I'm going to take Jericho. I don't care. I know Goldberg's is a beast and he's a monster and all this, but dude, Chris Jericho is wrestling. Always has been, always will be.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yep.
I'm thinking back to the Man of 1,004 Holes with Dean Malenko back in the day. You know, that's what I'm thinking about. You know,
1004.
Absolutely.
That's right. One thing that's good for business that Goldberg wins is it changes the theme. So now, rather than just being the hunted, he is now the hunter. You know, he could show up at any time. The lights go out. He's doing the little claw to the mouth. He's doing his little taking people out. That was pretty exciting.
Right.
So changes the theme. That's good for business. Not so good. We've been there, done that. We've done this a couple of years ago when Goldberg took out Lesnar. He beat him twice really quick, squashed him, and then he lost at WrestleMania.
Right. It kind of cheapens the championship when you make quick changes like that so fast. They become that quote-unquote word traditional champion, which people hate that word, and they should, because it disrespects their it disrespects their meaning in the business and their credibility of being a traditional champion. See, a lot of people thought Kofi Kingston was going to be a traditional champion, but he wasn't. So, but I agree with you. It is a problem.
Yep. One good reason for Goldberg doing it is nostalgia. I mean, everybody likes the Hall of Famer, and Goldberg.
You hear, how many times have you heard me every week come in and sit in this chair and talk about UWF and Mid-South and global wrestling and world class and Memphis and all that? Yeah, the nostalgia sells. It really does.
Yep,
it certainly does. Why do people keep chanting CM Punk all the time? They wanted to think back to the days with the pipe bomb. And how many hits has a pipe bomb gotten on YouTube? Probably a couple billion? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Another bad reason about Goldberg getting over is it makes the Fiend looks kind of weak. I don't know about that one. But, I mean, obviously you're going to lose at some point. I mean, it was a give-and-take match. It wasn't like a complete squash. I mean,
right.
he went down to the jackhammer.
But see, that makes Daniel Bryan look weak because Daniel Bryan couldn't beat him.
Oh, that's
it
right,
makes it makes Finn Balor look weak because Finn couldn't beat him.
Yep.
You know, it makes Miz look
Seth
weak.
Rollins.
Miz couldn't beat him. Man, you know, all these people makes them look weak because they couldn't do it. But Goldberg, who hasn't wrestled in God knows how long, just waltzes in here and beats him on the first try, makes them look weak too.
Either way, one good reason about Goldberg getting over like he has is now you've got 2 major WrestleMania events as a result
correct.
of it.
And that's going to help your ESPN relationship. That's going to help your Fox relationship. Because when you got this mainstream media like ESPN and Fox pushing your show already, and now they're going to push it even more because now you got, Brock Lesnar's in a match as a champion and Goldberg's in a match as a champion. Even the fans that haven't watched wrestling for a long, long time, they know who Brock Lesnar is. Yeah. They know who Bill Goldberg is. They're going to want to watch the WrestleMania.
That's right.
So that's a good, from a selling point, it's very smart in terms of pay-per-view buys, interest. Good point. But in terms of what it means to the wrestlers that I feel like, what about me? What about Raven kind of thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Raven.
I'm surprised I didn't see him last night.
Not good for business. He's a part-time champ. I mean, everybody knows he's not keeping it
Same
more
thing
than
with Brock.
He's not keeping what?
Same thing with Cena.
Well, Brock.
Same thing with Undertaker.
Brock. He is not a part-time champ. He's a full-time champ performing on a part-time basis.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. He shows up every now and then.
But see, Goldberg could be the same thing. He could be a full-time championship on a part-time basis.
That would be terrible. Can you have both heavyweight
Cena,
belts?
Undertaker, all these guys. Rock. They've made their name in the business and they deserve everything that they've done and they've helped get where it is to this day. But to come back every blue moon and win a championship, that completely spits in the face of these men and women that are sitting here doing what these guys did years ago, scratching their claw and trying to get what they want to get.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to add, a little asterisk by it, things I think are bad for the business is, you mentioned this before we went on air, what about people like Daniel Bryan? What about people that, where are they going to be now? Or are they even going to have a match?
Yep.
If Goldberg wasn't in there, if Undertaker wasn't in there, if John Cena wasn't in there, that opens up 3 matches. Maybe Bryan could be in one and somebody else could be another. Now, all of a sudden, you have limited spots available for people that have been busting their rear end since day one to get in wrestling. I mean, what Cena said last night, or Friday night was true, okay? WrestleMania is the zenith and the highlight for these people's careers. There's nothing more they want to do the whole year long than to be in that match. Yep. If you headline it, God bless you. But if just the fact that you can show up, even if it's from a pre-show, just to show up, you've made it. Yep. You made it to the World Series. You may get eliminated 2 straight games, but you made it to Omaha, and that's all that matters. Yep. And these guys are taking away, at least in my opinion, for whatever it's worth, probably ain't much, but it's taking away opportunities for your Bryans and your other folks to get there. Okay? Yep. That's all I'm saying.
How lame would it be to put these guys that are missing out, like your Daniel Bryan, putting them in that
the battle royal kind of thing, whatever.
What do they call that thing? The Andre the Giant Cup or
whatever.
Memorial. Yeah, that'd be kind of lame.
Well,
but,
that's the only way they're going to get on.
That's probably right.
And remember, the women before Stephanie McMahon started the Women's Revolution. But I remember the Bellas on their show. They were crying about how they actually had a match that got cut. The whole match got cut. They couldn't even have it because the men's match went too long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so whole match got scrambled. Yep. They trained for months and months because they were told, number one, they were told they had a match at WrestleMania. So their overwhelming emotion was off the charts. And then they specifically trained for 4 months to make it do their best. And then, minutes before the match, ladies, come see me for a second. Sorry, you're getting cut. You're 86, can't do it. Yep. These guys were too long. What do you mean? You heard what I said. You're done. You ain't going to wrestle at WrestleMania. We'll give you a cameo tomorrow night on Raw.
All right. So
how does that make you feel?
Another good reason for Goldberg winning the belt, in our opinion, the fans care about it. I mean, the fans get excited. I mean, the second they hit him with that music, Goldberg, go, everybody goes crazy. He's back. He's back. So the fans care about it. And last but not least, we're going to hit you with a negative of Goldberg being the champ, or pushed or elevated or pushed over, whatever you want to call it. It stops creating new talent. You have so many people that are coming up like the Sleepy Man has been alluding to, about people that are missing out on opportunities.
Right.
Obviously, people are going to miss out on opportunities. So maybe, and then you've got this lull that's going to come after WrestleMania, and it's like you're going to start pushing these lower level people after WrestleMania.
Right.
It's just going to accentuate the lull. With who are these people?
Unless you put these people on that infamous Raw after WrestleMania, which is so crazy.
Yeah,
you put them on that show, I've seen that happen numerous times too, where these people come from NXT or whatever, and they make their long awaited appearance at the Raw after WrestleMania. Remember whenever Paige beat AJ Lee for the Women's Championship? The Raw after WrestleMania? Stuff like that. Speaking of that, I'm surprised I didn't see her last night with Mr. Brooks. I was really shocked they weren't there.
Yeah, that was, either way, over the top. Either way, you got any final comments? We're getting close to the end of the Ringside Wrangler report.
It was fun last night. I enjoyed being there. I'm a Blackhawks fan, CM Punk, and the Chicago fans love the Blackhawks, and it was a great venue, great arena. I'll say it for the last time, I promise. Chicago, Philadelphia, PA, New York City, New York, most just rodacious, if you will, wrestling fans in the world, and it was great to be there. Good show. I would not give it a 2 or 1. I'm sorry. 8 at a worst. 8 at a worst.
Yeah, I'm at a 7. So AEW is really moving up. Exciting show. This week's going to be exciting. The fallout of the AEW show, and then they even mentioned they've
3 weeks they're having a cage match.
A war games.
Yeah, a war game style.
It's like 2 matches on 2 rings under one giant cage. That ought to be exciting on a Wednesday night of all things. So either way, I'm Jack Jaw, Ringside Wrangler Wrestling Report. I'm your host. Like I said earlier, like and subscribe to us on YouTube, our Facebook page. We're having fun doing this. Reach out to us. Let us know your comments or anything you'd like us to talk about. Either way, Jack Jaw, Ringside Wrangler Report, ringsidewranglers@gmail.com. I'm out. Yes. Yeah. I'm a dork. Yes.
It's the Ringside Wranglers Wrestling Report with your host, Jack Jaw.